Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me for the first Node talk of day two of NBAA. My name is Philippe Villard. Has it started? Can you hear me? Wonderful. My name is Philippe Villard. I am the regional sales manager for the west coast of the United States for the Avinode marketplace. And today we'll be spending a couple of minutes talking about APIs in business aviation and how they apply to Avinode. These are the topics we'll be covering. First, we will break down what an API is, a couple of examples. Then we'll discuss how APIs have accelerated businesses in general, and more specifically aviation. How to utilize Avinode's data through the API, and we'll give you a couple of pointers on how to get started using Avinode's API as you'd like to move together with the project. So API is an acronym that stands for Application Programming Interface, either a database, either a computer, software that talk to one another. The most common of APIs that you have most probably come across is the Google Maps API with the two major ride-hailing services that are Uber and Lyft. This is very much a synergy of strength between the world's best map services and the best and most prevalent ride-hailing services. And for, quite some time now, you've been able, based on your itinerary, to hail one of their services directly from the Maps app. And that is done through an API from companies that seemingly don't have any sort of more partnership, or they don't own one another, or they're not subsidiaries of one another. Another example is the American Airlines app. It's not utilizing somebody else's or pulling together another company's API. It's very much using its own data to project information that is relevant to you as a client. I have a quick anecdote on this app. In fact, when I arrived in Las Vegas on Sunday, my plane was grounded for maintenance issue, and I guess since working in aviation, I have a particular appreciation for airplanes on the ground, and I've had to change my flight 4 times to actually make my way to Las Vegas. And I was able to do all of this directly from the American Airlines app, meaning an unfortunate situation that was very frustrating, that could have ruined my relationship with American Airlines. Through the engagement and through their technology, they managed to reverse the situation and sort of made it better in an unfortunate way. Other interfaces that we come across on a regular basis, we could consider would be a restaurant and a restaurant waiter. So the parallel here is that you have to go to a physical location that is the restaurant. We can consider this to be the API. And I guess your first reaction would be, yes, but now restaurants are digital and I can order food through the sort of the Uber Eats app. But as you can notice on the Las Vegas Strip, real physical restaurants still do exist. Then when you step in and you order the menu, you can consider this as being the list of data points. When you put in your order, that's an API call. When the waiter comes back and tells you they're out of the fish, that's a 404 error in APIs. And then finally, if you do get your fish, then that's a successful call. The reason why I'm making this parallel is because in this situation, the ability for a waiter in a restaurant to engage with you on a contextual basis. And I think the best APIs and the best software out there are able to provide you with services and suggestions that are based on a certain context, whether your client profile or what the services you are calling for. Now, we've heard of the API economy, and the reason for that is that API are now ubiquitous. They're absolutely everywhere, whether through software, apps on your phone, or if you get caught by a speed trap, there is an API with the DMV to find your home address and to send you that bill home. The benefits of utilizing API, whether in aviation or in other industries, is that you now have access to more products. You can now combine products, like the example we saw previously with the Google Maps app. It has considerably sped up business, and you're able to engage in a better way with your clients. In fact, the most valuable piece of real estate is to be in your client's phone on a screen that they look at all day, and you're able to do that through the technology of APIs. Now, this is a list of actions that our members on Avinode take sort of every single day. And I'd like to point out that all of these actions can be translated through an API. And so things that you have to do manually can now be done digitally, and you can now empower your clients to take those actions. Let's take, for example, sending an invoice. No longer do they have to reach out to you and you have to send them back. Now you could embed this into an app, and they can just request it and receive that PDF directly from the app you're building. The couple of ways to start with an API and the process of which you go about creating a project is first you sort of have to plan a project, and you have to have access to the Avinode sandbox, and you have to have a series of ideas of what you're trying to accomplish. Then most likely you'll start building your app, and you'll work with a third-party team of developers to make that happen. And then finally you go live to the product and you introduce it to the public. On the planning phase, I'm putting a list of examples that are showing up on the screen here. And a lot of times when people come to us and they inquire about APIs, it's always almost for a online booking platform, a flight booking platform or a flight sharing app. And I guess what I want to communicate is that you can be a lot more creative. For instance, you can put together a trip logistics tracking app. You can work with cryptocurrency. You can integrate it into your CRM. And just that all the data that's available to you, you can have now the flexibility of using it in any which way you see fit. These are sort of a list of examples of call methods that apply to specific solutions. And we are going to start working in the future of bringing and offering our API in sort of custom-made solutions. So if you come to us and say, I'd like to, come together and build a CRM integration, most likely we will recommend to use those API call feeds. And for whatever you'd like to do, most likely we've done it before. We can help you accomplish it, or we can suggest the best way of going about it. And so I guess the takeaway from this presentation and the last couple of minutes you spent with me, and I'd like to thank you for your attention and standing there, it's that please be creative. There is a lot of ways of using the API and a lot of ways of going about it. And we have all of the data that we collect from the Avinode marketplace and all of our sister companies. And I'd like you to sort of start discussing with us on how you can best utilize that data to your advantage and to enhance your client experience. Thank you, Fru.